ABC made the announcement Kimmel would indeed be taken off the air indefinitely. And this is just the latest chapter in Donald Trump's ongoing campaign to crack down on free speech, dominate the media, and essentially render the First Amendment meaningless. So it was for the journeyman cable news host Tucker Carlson, just fired from his third network. He believed he could say anything, no matter how vile, no matter how disgusting, no matter how offensive, no matter how dehumanizing or belittling. And if you act like a sociopath over and over and over and over, you will become unpopular on the national stage. That's just like a basic principle. Over time, probably not going to work out well for you in the long run. Eventually, people will be rightly offended, disgusted by it.
Oh, hey there. Look at Chris Hayes clutching his pearls, crying about the attack on democracy because black comic Jimmy Kimmel, who used to cosplay Karl Malone.
So lucky. All kind of Americans infected by diabetes. Diabetes infect young, old, women, men. And here, Karl Malone whole thing. Why they call it diabetes? That get people all riled up.
Got some heat for lying through his teeth there on network TV, eh?
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from.
The left is out here screaming, how dare they threaten Jimmy's job? How dare they attack the First Amendment? Hypocrites. Because these are the same people who've been playing whack-a-mole with free speech since Obama was still pretending to like arugula while he was sipping kale smoothies in the Oval Office. These are the same folks who turned censorship into an Olympic sport. And boy, they might not win gold compared to Great Britain, but do they ever try? Give them credit.
We will hold social media platforms accountable for the hate infiltrating their platforms because they have a responsibility to help fight against this threat to our democracy. If you don't police your platforms, we are going to hold you accountable.
Remember the vaccine? Oh. You couldn't whisper a word of skepticism without being labeled a plague-spreading troglodyte. Say the virus emanated from the virology lab in Wuhan, and underline virology, where COVID first appears, because apparently that becomes a dog whistle for racism, and they'd slap you with a scarlet R faster than you can say Wuhan wet market. They lean on big tech shadow banning, on deplatforming, on straight up canceling anyone who didn't salute the narrative with pride. That's not just a vibe, amigos. That is the ultimate in First Amendment violations. And frankly, I believe that all who engage should be launched via Elon's SpaceX rocket across the Pacific to their dear leader's backyard, their ideological homeland of North Korea that is somehow exporting their version of speech on America. And don't get me started on all the workplace purges that took place at the time. People got fired for saying all lives matter. 3 words, and you're out of a job. Grandma's working, we're told, sorry, Mildred, you know that red sweater? People find it triggering. You're gonna have to knit yourself a new personality. And by the way, go trade your cookies that are on your desk for a DEI handbook. These people stormed into restaurants like vegan vigilantes, demanding you raise your fist in ideological submission or they'd scream you into oblivion. These are the same people who canceled Dr. Seuss because a cartoon that was issued in 1947 somehow didn't pass the current modern day purity test. They tore down statues of Abe Lincoln, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and Teddy Roosevelt. Teddy, he got yeeted from the Natural History Museum in New York City, probably because his mustache was too patriarchal. Thousands of examples, people. I could do this all day. And let's applaud them for their greatest hits. Cheering when Tucker Carlson got the boot from Fox, trying, by the way, to nuke Fox News off of the airwaves entirely, like it was a personal mafia vendetta, which pretty much describes the situation. They got Roseanne Barr canned for a tweet. Barack Obama himself calling head honcho at Disney, Bob Iger, probably whispering, "Bob, she's gotta go," while sipping a latte on his coastal Martha's Vineyard estate, which, given the climate change that he promised, that Al Gore promised, somehow remains above water. They debanked conservatives, banned them from using the Airbnb platform, hunted down anyone who dared to question at all their grip on power. These are the authoritarians, folks, the ones who think Jimmy Kimmel can waltz on FCC-regulated airwaves and lie through those precious veneers, claiming that the shooter was a MAGA hat-wearing redneck when all the evidence points to furry Triantifas consumed by hatred, envy, and leftism, although the three are pretty much synonyms for one another. Does what Jimmy said serve the public? Negative. No. Niet, amigo. It's just green veggies for the blue anons, as they try to deflect responsibility for their stochastic terrorism, which unfortunately did lead to Charlie Kirk and attempts on Donald Trump's life if it wasn't sponsored by them directly. Now, do I want the FCC sticking their nose in this? No, I don't. Brendan Carr, the FCC head, should have just kept his mouth shut, because now the left has some shiny new deflection to dodge the fact that Kimmel's lie, and I do mean lie, pissed off affiliates and advertisers alike.
That get people all riled up.
The guy won't even apologize. He promised to go scorched earth on MAGA on his next broadcast. And yet, he's out here acting like he's the Rosa Parks of late night TV, earning $15 million a year. So I've got a wild idea. Let's sell off the network spectrum. Let ABC, NBC, CBS go full cable. Zero FCC oversight. The government, in turn, raises billions, which they'll probably blow on artisanal drone strikes under Trump or diversity consultants for the Pentagon under the next blue regime. But at least it's not out of my pocket. The problem would then be solved. Kimmel, he can lie all he wants on cable, and we don't have to pretend it's public interest. Look, I love the First Amendment like I love a good conspiracy theory about Big Pharma. It's sacred, it's messy, but it's ours. So when Pam Bondi goes out there yapping about hate speech not being allowed,
we will absolutely target you, go after you, if you are targeting anyone with hate speech.
Well, my friends, I'm going to have to agree. It's garbage what she said. And I stick up for people's right to express their minds free of government interference.
But I also think there are Americans who are engaged in this kind of propaganda. And whether they should be civilly or even in some cases criminally charged is something that would be a better deterrent.
You can say whatever you want so long as you aren't inciting violence or slandering somebody with obvious lies. But the left has been tap dancing on that line, especially of inciting violence, well, slander as well, for years. And they're still whining about misinformation while their own lies pile up like unpaid parking tickets. There's a lot of interest on those. And look, I don't want to live in some dystopian hellhole like North Korea, Iran, or God forbid, even worse, Great Britain, where you can get arrested for saying, "I love bacon," near a mosque. That's right, amigos. In England, ordering a BLT will earn you a court date. Wrap your heads around that one. The Democrats, they're the ones, honestly, who wanted to water down free speech. John Kerry.
Our First Amendment stands as a major block to the ability to be able to just, hammer it out of existence. So
Tim Waltz.
I think we need to push back on this. There's no guarantee to free speech on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our democracy.
They've been openly out there begging for artisanal censorship brewed in a specialty Brooklyn co-op, except they get to control the recipe. But now, now they're posing as free speech warriors because Kimmel's catching flack. Oh, goodness gracious, spare me. Just end it right now and spare me. Because these people would sell their own kids to keep a lock on the narrative. They are not protectors of free speech. They're the HOA of discourse, slapping fines on anyone who doesn't mow their opinions to the correct ideological height. And they're measuring your lawn with a ruler made of virtue signals. So here's the deal. Let's stop pretending the left cares about free expression. They're the ones who built the cancel culture guillotine, and now they're shocked, I tell you, when it swings back upon them. Black Jimmy can keep lying, but don't cry censorship when the audience changes the channel. And for God's sakes, don't let the federal government anywhere near the First Amendment. And I would say that if it was Kamala or Trump in office. We're already halfway down the slippery slope to a world where "I love bacon" lands you in jail. I'm not here for it. Neither should you be. So now let's all go to the deli, order a BLT, and publicly invite the entire planet to join us. Because that's free speech. Fire me if you can and live stream it on X for the lols. Y'all did it to Charlie Kirk for expressing his opinion. Now that is a free speech violation.